It looks still up. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
It's brilliant.
Absolutely superb. Errol, what did you think?
Well, I mean, it was one of the funnier moments of the campaign. I think the biggest takeaway wasn't anything we saw, but what we didn't see. We didn't see Kamala Harris show up to that event. Nobody has skipped that event since Mondale, and he lost in an absolute landslide. And so the idea that she missed an opportunity to go up there and, she can have somebody else write the jokes. I don't think she's clever enough to write the jokes or would write the jokes. But a total missed opportunity for her. It shows the weakness of her campaigns. It shows her inability to confront Donald Trump head-to-head in anything that's not scripted. It wasn't a debate, so she was going to have to go off the cuff. She can't do that.
He did it really well, the off-the-cuff remarks, didn't he?
Oh, it was hilarious. It was classic vintage Trump. And, you have Chuck Schumer sitting there. He has to sit there. Letitia James, she's been trying to take his business, his house, his life, his wife, everything from him. She had to applaud him. I mean...
But people love a funny bloke. I mean, this could actually have a turning point. In this country, we used to have a programme called Spitting Image, and the more they sort of put Thatcher on, it made her more popular, and actually him being funny in America can have a great effect, and especially with Kamala Harris not turning up.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know if you guys saw the video that she sent to the event, but it was like a 4-minute video with like one of the weirdest, almost unfunny things I've ever seen in my life. I almost, cringe is the word I think that people use. So, I mean, she's done such a bad job.
And that's with a prepared video.
Yeah, and who advised her of this? She could have gotten up there and had 20, 30 minutes of just
the problem is, Errol, and this is one thing that I really worry about for the sake of our nation and the United States of America. These people, their advisors know they're incapable, and so what they have to do is hide them away and try and lighten the load for them. And that's so worrying. I mean, can you imagine you were running a presidential campaign and you picked somebody that you know to be wholly deficient, but what we'll do is we'll just pretend she isn't.
They're even asking Keir Starmer for help now, so things must be bad.
Well, she did so. I mean, at least Joe Biden, he had dementia at the time, probably. He showed up. I think.
Yeah, he didn't know where he was. He thought
one of the jokes.
He thought he was on a visit to North Korea. New York's quite.
The Labour Party is sending some people over to
100,
interfere in our election. Is that what's going on?
Make it even worse for you.
Yeah, well, I think the point has been made online. My dad contacted me the other day saying this. Look, we have gone on and on and on about these non-existent interference from Russia things. Well, the governing party of the United Kingdom has sent 100 people over. That is election interference.
They have to pay their own airfare, but now they're going to get taxed more as well.
Well, Lord Ali will pay it. But how does that go down with America? Because when Obama advised us to not vote for Brexit, it didn't go down well. It's even worse, especially from Britain, who they hate from the independence war.
I think, it's not getting a ton of play, but it's definitely unsettling, especially when you consider the people who value the special relationship are the Republicans in America. Yes. The Democrats care nothing for this. So, will it leave a bad taste? This could be a small problem for the UK. Should Trump get elected, then he might not be very friendly for the first few months.
Yeah, I think the bigger risk with Donald Trump not getting elected. So when Donald Trump talks about this whole, fair trade versus completely unbridled free trade, he has a problem with factories being moved to Mexico. It's not a problem with the United Kingdom because our employment laws and our wages are such that we don't have an ability to undercut American workers in the way that Donald Trump is concerned about people undercutting. The problem with Donald Trump is he has consistently begged us to have a deal which is in the United Kingdom's financial and political interest, and it's the United Kingdom that's opposing it because we are run by absolute numpties.
Yeah, it's not great. We have a lot of crossover, whether it be, pharmaceuticals or cars, a lot of easy, big industries that we can work together on. And Trump's the guy who wants to do it. I'm not sure the internal stuff on your guys' domestic side, but it's kind of disappointing to us that we haven't been able to cultivate that relationship the first time around as well as we could have. Obviously, not getting elected the second time around, probably.
Well, they've just banned Elon Musk they banned him from coming to a conference because he hurt Keir Starmer's feelings. And so they banned the most innovative progressive and pioneering man. Never mind he's the richest man in the world, what he comes up with. And he was interested in investing in Britain. Now he's going to be a minister for Trump, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
given $75 million to the campaign.
Yeah, he's been sending a lot of money, especially to voter efforts and to, other like very direct things, not even only to the campaign. But, one of the great things about Elon is he believes in this free speech. He's put his money where his mouth is, and most people don't have the courage, even in a small neighborhood, to put up a Trump sign. Elon's put a target on his back and said, hey, if I lose, how is this government going to continue to treat me like this?
And in terms of just moving this on, in terms of a target on his back, is the prevailing view that his support for Donald Trump will get him arrested somewhere in the world? Because we've seen the boss of Telegram get lifted in France. I think
there were threats in this country, weren't they?
Well, if you look at the direction of travel, the political left are very keen now on locking people up in the way that they did in the Soviet Union. I think Elon Musk needs to be careful where his plane lands.
Yeah, he might end up in a British prison for sharing memes.
Well, he said the trajectory in Britain is heading to civil war, which I think is, it might be in many years, but that is the trajectory, isn't it? I mean, you can't. Yeah,
the reality is, if you're talking about how close are we to civil war on a scale of 0 being it's definitely not going to happen, and 100 it's happening right now, we're not at 0. Right, that is a reality. Mind you, I don't think the United States of America is at 0 either. And the problem is exactly the same in all of these countries. We have political leaders who will not do what the public want them to do. And instead what they try and do is shut down dissent and stop people from complaining about the fact they will not do what they want them to do.
Yeah, and you saw Hillary Clinton recently crying, if we lose control, openly saying it, that if there's free speech platforms, if people are able to share their ideas for just a little bit longer, they're going to lose total control. And they're shameless about it. They believe in it. They even refer to people in the U.S. as free speech people. They'll say, oh, he's a free speech person.
Oh, what no, terrible.
That? Well, along with the founding fathers, Erol Morkoc, hang around for a little bit. We're going to go to a quick break and then we'll be back.
across the UK. on DAB+, on your smart TV, on the app. The home of common sense. This is Talk.
So we're still here with Erol Morkoc, who is a spokesman for Republicans Overseas UK, which is obviously Donald Trump's political party. Who's going to win the election?
Well, I think Trump. I think very confidently I have to stand with my guy. I mean, is it going to be a landslide? Maybe. I don't think it's going to be close either way. I think if he loses, he's going to lose a lot of the swing states, and if he wins, he's going to win them all.
But how could he lose? What? Because he is now ahead in the polls, and is she peaked too soon? How could he now lose? I mean, they will try something, won't they?
You never know. There's going to be there's a very interesting international push where they're claiming to be bringing in 9 million ballots out of 2.5 million Americans abroad. Some very weird stuff going on there. Obviously, we have to look at the inner cities. We're going to have a much better grasp of that this time around. We've got, poll watchers. Here's the big one. Here's the one that people don't think is so Trump lost. Virginia, and then Glenn Youngkin won Virginia by almost 10 points, and he has now made it only paper ballots in the state of Virginia. And I grew up in Virginia. I mean, I haven't lived there since I was 18, but I grew up there. I mean, it blows my mind that Virginia goes blue just because of the northern part. So with this new paper ballot, the inability of Richmond and Newport News and some of these, historically Democrat-controlled areas to maybe fudge some numbers, I think that might be a really positive thing. I'll
tell you, Errol, one thing that really worried me about the last presidential election, and I hope that we don't share that stupidity this time. Every election scrutineer, every teller has a duty to defend the democratic system. Electoral fraud exists in every election to a greater or lesser extent. This ludicrous situation on social media where if you suggested there was any electoral fraud or attempted to discuss the issue of electoral fraud, then suddenly you were labelled a liar or dishonest or whatever. I will tell you, every election has some fraudulent activity, and it's the job of people like you, and it's the job of the election scrutineers from the Democrat and the Republican Party to ensure that is kept to an absolute minimum. I do not believe that social media firms, by saying discussion of electoral fraud, it will get you banned. I believe that is a diminution of the democratic process, not an improvement.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, the same kind of people did the same type of behavior during COVID about doing your own research and questioning anything. It's an element for total control, top-down, totalitarian sort of, mind lock, and they don't want anybody outside of their lines. And so this is why this election is so critical, because, we have two diametrically opposed paths. We couldn't possibly be going in two different ways.
No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. 79% of people oppose what's going on at the moment. That's because of Donald Trump. If you vote for Kamala, that's a vote for change. Apparently, that Fox News interview was a dog's dinner. I don't even fully understand the point she was attempting to make. But let's just say there are two opposing paths, and she's on both of them, because you can both oppose the current system and vote for her, and not oppose the current system and vote for her.
But Twitter clamped down, didn't they, during the last election? They didn't publish anything about the Biden laptop, and that would have swung it, apparently.
And Facebook.
So, I mean, they were all in on it, and Facebook. So, I mean, it really is bent.
Also, all the intelligence agents, the CIA directors who all called it, that's election interference.
I mean, the other thing is, we're sat there talking about collusion from Russia. Podesta's brother, when he worked for Hillary Clinton, went to the Ukrainian embassy to get dirt on Donald Trump. They literally did exactly what they accused Trump of doing.
But also, then after the election, Clinton said that this election is invalid because of Russian interference, which is what they accused Trump of doing, declaring the election invalid because there was some sort of interference.
The hypocrisy is staggering, Errol, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive, and that's why. And here's the other thing: we have nothing to lose in this election because we've been living in the world for 20 of the last 24 years, if you really think about it. So the pressure's on them. They very well might get some of their people court-martialed. People like General Milley, who apparently had a secret line to China and had built his own conglomerate of people that he bragged about. If Trump gave an order, they wouldn't do it. People very well might get court-martialed. There's a lot of malfeasance that occurred, and a lot of people who potentially committed crimes and or treason against the United States of America, and they're terrified, horrified, mortified of Trump coming in and actually enforcing the law. I don't know if he would actually enforce those laws, because they're dead to rights on a lot of them.
I'll tell you the most responsible thing about Donald Trump. He has said that if he gets elected as President of the United States, he will end the political show trials that he's been subjected to. I think actually the most responsible thing he can do is say, we are not going to respond to them by doing this, because I'll tell you what, if we end up in a situation in America and indeed in Britain, which is like Venezuela or Pakistan or wherever, where former presidents have to flee the country for fear of being thrown in prison, that will be a significant problem. But of course, that is what the Democrats have attempted.